Hello traders, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time you are watching this video. This is Ed FX Traders doing part 2 of our stochastic system. We're focusing on a series called Simple Forex Trading Strategies. Simple strategies in Forex that we can use to trade the market. So this is part 2 of using the stochastic indicator. This is a stochastic strategy, but the good thing about this is that this is a multiple time frame stochastic. So if you haven't watched part 1 of this series, you have to go and watch part 1 and then come back and watch this video. All the information will be provided in the description of this video, the link to my free Telegram channel. Okay, if you haven't subscribed as yet, please do so. Give this video a like and click the notification bell. Now, I'm going to quickly go over the system, how this works. Okay, so we use the weekly time frame, the stochastic on the weekly time frame to determine trend direction. For we know that outside of risk management, direction is most important. Okay, so we use the weekly stochastic and it works like this. If the stochastic on the weekly time frame is in the sell zone, we're only going to look to sell. And if the stochastic indicator is on the buy zone, on the weekly time frame, we are only going to look to buy. So that is it. When it is in the buy zone, and the buy zone is when it is at or below the 20 horizontal mark here, this line, and the sell zone, it is when above 80. So once we have that, we have our sell zone and we have our buy zone. Okay, we're only going to buy or sell according to the weekly stochastic indicator. Okay, now when we have that on the weekly time frame telling us whether we should buy or whether we should sell, we then will go to the daily time frame and we use the daily time frame to give us low prices and high prices. Why? When we're looking to buy, you know, when you go anywhere to buy something, you want to buy it at a low price, okay? And whenever you're selling something, you want to sell it at a high price. So if the weekly time frame, right, the stochastic on the weekly time frame is telling us to look to buy, then we want to buy low. And if it's telling us to look to sell, then we want to sell high. We use the daily time frame to determine our high or our high and low prices. So we use the stochastic again. When the stochastic on the daily time frame is in the buy zone, then we're at a low price. When the stochastic on the daily time frame is in the sell zone, then we're at a high price. Okay, so we first look at the weekly. The weekly tells us whether we should buy or sell. Then we look at the daily, and the daily will tell us whether we are at a low price or whether we're at a high price. If the weekly tells us that we're going to look to buy, but the daily is at a high price, we will not buy. We will wait until the daily gives us a low price. And if the weekly tells us that we're going to sell, but the daily is at a low price, then we're going to wait until we get the high price. That is how we're going to trade this system. That is how this is going to work. Okay? So essentially what it boils down to is that we want both the weekly and the daily stochastic indicator to be in the same zone, okay, to find our initial trade. So here, right, I am going to show it to you where both indicators, right, are on the same, in the same zones, okay? So if we go here, okay, I'm going back to silver, right, we will going to see the times that both indicators are in the same zone, okay? So I've marked those with these pink lines, okay? When we have those lining up, they're in the same zone. If they're both in the buy zone, then we're going to look to buy. And if they're both in the sell zone, then we're going to look to sell. Okay? So here, both are in the buy zone, so we want to look to buy. And here, both are in the sell zone, then we're going to look to sell. And we're going to sell or buy on the 4-hour time frame. We want to use a lower time frame to lower our risk. And essentially all that we're going to do is that if both are in the buy zone, just use some indicator that tells you when to buy or when to sell. Okay? Because you're going to be trading in the direction of highest probability. So for instance, here it is telling us to buy. So for this indicator, we will wait until this changes from red to green, and then we begin to buy. And then when it changes, when it is in the sell zone, when both indicators again are in the opposite zone, so we'd have been trading from the buy zone and until the weekly stochastic reaches the sell zone. And when both are lined up, right, in the sell zone, and the indicator changes from green in this instance to red, that's when we exit the trade. And then we begin to enter a new trade and begin to look to sell, right? Whenever you're buying, your stop is going to be below the last low of U-turn. So if we're going to buy here, our stop will be below this low, okay? And if we're going to look to sell, our stop will be above the last high. And you can sell multiple times, but just make selling your focus until the weakest stochastic reaches into the buy zone, okay? So you can sell and you can come out and look and re-enter, or you can enter multiple times, whatever you want to do, but do not buy. Even if you get a run like this or you see a run like this, do not buy, because the market is going to fall and the greatest move is going to be on the downside. Okay, so just focus on selling. As you can see, if you are just focus on selling, we see the market just dropped. Okay, now bear in mind sometimes it will take a little while, as you can see here, that it was telling us to sell, but for several weeks it was in a range, it was in consolidation. Okay, we have to be patient, right, and just focus on the direction of highest probability and sell. Okay, and that's pretty much the system. So right now we're looking for an opportunity to sell silver, right, because both are lined up in the sell zone, both the daily and the weekly are in the sell zone. And so all we now need is a change in color of this indicator, and then we are going to look to begin to sell. So whichever indicator you want to use that tells you to sell or to buy, you can just go ahead and use that. Okay, this is another indicator that tells to sell or buy. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that in the part 3 of this video, I'm going to talk about the nuances. Okay, the nuances of the system, right? Because you know that you're using indicators, and indicators are lagging indicators, so there are some nuances. Okay, then also in my free Telegram channel, I will be providing this particular indicator, the multiple time frame indicator, and one moving average indicator that you can use with the system, this stochastic strategy. Okay, so you can go through pairs. This makes it very easy to look for pairs to buy or sell. You can just skip through pairs, and once they are lining up or not lining up, you can see here the pound card has been going down. Right here was the opportunity to look to sell. They were both in the sell zone here, and then this was the opportunity to sell. Then we get back them in the same zone again, and this was the opportunity to sell, and we could have just sell, right, for 400, 500 pips. Okay, so you just go through different currency pairs and look for the opportunities to buy and to sell. Okay, it's a very simple strategy, and just stick to the rules, which everything I'm going to put in the description of this video. This is Ed FX Trader signing out.